Understand that.
Oh,
Welcome to our June Transit Riders Council meeting, folks. We do not yet have a quorum, so we cannot approve the agenda or approve the minutes that were sent to you. So once we get the quorum, hopefully we will be able to do those things. But in the meantime, there is a bylaw revision.
No, we can't
We
do
can't
that
do that
either.
either. Can't even talk about it?
No, because we're gonna need to move it.
Oh,
We can't move it without a,
Can we table it at this time?
agenda, it says that we have to vote on.
right, so we need
Wow.
to wait until we have another.
Yeah.
A member too. What we can do is talk about, field trip locations and dates.
Agreed.
I'm not asking you, but I'm asking Andrew and Andrew's.
yeah.
I still agree anyway.
So we normally have our,
Please just say thank you.
when we have our field trips in August, we don't have a regular meeting in August. We usually visit some very interesting places. They have announced a brand new rail yard in the Sunset Park section of Brooklyn, which will be used to review and fix all new subway cars, of which we're going to be getting quite a few of them. I think it's easily reachable. Don't yet know if it's an accessible facility yet, but I can find that out. That is one possibility.
Can we schedule a trip to?
But we need to have
a place that's
schedule a
not-
date now. So let's try to work a date that works for everybody.
What are the other possibilities?
Particularly,
The other possibilities are the new Jamaica bus depot that is temporarily being used while they finalize the one they're fixing up big time. We could visit that. We've already gone to the amazing bus command center in East New York. We've done that like 4 years ago. So I don't think we need to do that again.
No, but most of the people who were there then are not
Here
in the
anymore.
group
Yeah.
anymore, so. And it really
It's
is
very
fascinating.
impressive. It's
really-
amazing. From the screen there, you can see where every single bus in the city of New York is. You cannot believe
I didn't see that one there.
it is
No,
amazing.
that's what I'm saying. You weren't here
So
yet.
that is also a possibility, the bus command depot. It's right across the street from the Alabama Avenue J line station. Right across the street.
all right, so Megan, we're gonna be coming to, your office with some of these requests, so,
We will be ready.
okay, good. All right, so we have the bus command center, right? As an option. Or no?
We can't vote on it. We don't have a quorum.
No, but we're just at Steve and.
Interesting options.
Yes, yes.
We
We can check out the new subway yard. We all got a board, at least got a notification that this is quite a facility that they're very proud of. So we'll see whether,
They say where in Sunset Park?
no, they didn't give me the exact location.
It's different from other yards.
Third and Fourth Avenue.
Why is it, Andrew, why is it
It's
different from other
supposedly
yards?
much more high tech and ready for every kind of new car that's coming.
39th Street and Third Avenue.
Yeah, I think that's the general vicinity, yeah.
What do you,
Maybe second, because
All
Third
right.
Avenue is a BQE.
but let's look at, dates.
Oh.
So our usual meeting date would be on August 28th, but I know I won't be here. Week before Labor, Day. I don't know if others will be away another
Isn't that right before?
Labor Day, right before, that's like right before Labor Day.
Okay.
We can do it earlier in
The
August.
21st. Yeah. Of August, is that? It is.
Does that look for you guys?
Yeah, August 20. Oh,
August 21st is our regular day.
yeah, that's the day I have Transit Riders Council field trip. I have it down
There
already.
you go.
Wow.
Right, with
Hey.
it's a B.
You're psychic
I've been to two,
or psycho or.
Yeah, more like that. Okay.
Last year we went to Staten Island.
right, and then we went to the one in Brooklyn
Right.
before that, and then we went to that center in the Upper West Side, not the Upper West.
And we went to the rail yard,
The rail control
But
center.
that's different.
The bus would be a good balance.
The bus command center or the new bus depot?
Command center sounds, the bus depot,
They're both
Temporary.
yeah, I don't know if that's worth
Where's the bus?
trekking to Jamaica.
But the bus command center in East New York is really
Yeah,
impressive.
but I mean,
It'd be close for me, like, I don't know that it would be, you know.
How do we get there? Is it nearest?
It's right at the J train Alabama Avenue station.
Oh,
The command center. Bus command center.
Yeah, it's right out, like,
isn't that?
Right across the street.
Isn't
It is elevated,
Don't they
yeah.
give a,
That's an elevated station.
I'll take it.
But.
Most of the J line is.
There isn't, yeah, but.
No, the command center is street level and it's very accessible.
Yeah.
yeah, it just, station's not accessible.
No.
Interview so that it's, but it's, gallery. Gallery.
I guess she's on her way here, but she's up there already.
Her vehicle broke down.
Like,
Okay, so we have 6.
So she doesn't count for,
Khalid gave it.
I'm on my
Pierce.
way.
Yeah.
I'm on my way. My Uber broke down, so I'm on my way. I will
wow,
be there.
yes, such rotten luck. Wow.
Okay,
I thought I was the only one who had.
Man, she has rotten
Terrible
luck. The last time
all right, that's.
her elevator was on fire. Oh, man.
Oh, elevator breakdown.
Yep. That's my life as a New Yorker with a disability, you guys.
So we've given her.
Leah, I will tell you that they used to say I was the one who had all. the
Our speaker's coming.
Yes.
I'll share them with you.
They're coming.
Okay,
Okay,
Okay.
yes, thank you.
so we can't discuss bylaws at all.
Leah did give her address listed.
I did give an alternative address in case. I did. I
But you're
did.
almost here, right?
I'm almost there.
Cicely counts, sorry, Khalid counts regardless. Cicely, are you on your way?
Okay, hold on.
Yes, I'm like 5 minutes from the parking garage. Yes.
So
Better?
then,
There's Dante with an address.
Yes.
It's helpful now.
Okay, you got it.
no, we can't, Dante, we need to be able to,
It's good to go.
Dante, we need to be able to, publicize it in advance. So, we understand that you were otherwise occupied, but in the future, if you could please,
We can take it out or move it or anything like that.
Thank you.
Sorry. She's having a phone meeting.
thank you. In the future, Dante, if you could kindly, share it with us in advance, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Lisa,
Um,
sorry to interrupt, but our presenters for today, they just rang me saying that they're by the elevator bank on
Okay,
16.
great, great.
Andrew, that sounds like Megan.
It is.
They might need to be let in. I don't think they have access.
They're right here. We've got them.
I say, welcome back to Megan. Yeah, she was out.
Well, hello.
Everybody.
You want to talk to some? This is your command.
Nice to meet you.
This is your. Oh, you said it. You told me.
dog.
Richard,
So let's get started because our speakers are here. Can we have everybody's attention, please? As you may have heard,
So I.
as you may have heard from month after month of Stuart's comments, Stuart has been requesting station cleaning personnel to come and explain how stations are selected, how frequently they're done. If a person can, if a member of the public or one of us even can report a problem and get it acted upon. So we're really greatly relieved to have Carl Labasi, who is the Assistant Chief Officer of Station Environment and Operations, David Martinez, Director of Quality Assurance, and I don't know the third person.
Hi, Matilda Payne, Operations Manager.
Great. Thank you all for coming. And we look forward to hearing what you have to say about station cleaning and how it's done, how frequent it is, how you picked locations to do next and things of that nature. So welcome.
Thank you. Awesome. Appreciate the invitation, everybody. So yeah, again, my name's Carl Labasi and we'll walk you through a brief presentation about station cleaning, some of the things since we last presented, some of the updates, some of the new and exciting things we're doing, and then any questions, concerns you have, we can certainly speak to those.
And maybe some new technology used.
Some new technology, yes. So do you have a clicker or you got it? Perfect.
I'm sorry, is this just Subway? This is just Subways.
This is Subway stations cleaning.
Just Subway.
Subway stations cleaning, yeah.
So let's let them get through their presentation and we'll ask you questions at the end. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. So, yep, within station environment operation, who is overseen by my boss, Vice President Sheila Hudson. We are responsible for the cleaning and providing of a clean, safe customer environment for all 472 stations within the 4 boroughs we serve. Rough order of magnitude, that's about 11 million square feet of public facing space. We call them CTAs, which is Cleaner Transit Authority Station Cleaners. Roughly, you're looking at a budget that's a little over 2,000 that are responsible for the day-to-day cleaning of these stations. Within those 2,000 folks, there are different areas of cleaning. So we have our routine cleaning. Those are the folks that scrap, they sweep, they disinfect, they pull cans. Those are the day-to-day station cleaners that you will see throughout the system who will be doing those functions. Then there are further subdivisions that are a little bit more specialized. We have our heavy-duty cleaning operations, otherwise known as the scrubber machines, Zamboni machines that we use on tile floors to clean the system. We have actually made a lot of headway over the past year. We have a new vendor who helps us service those, and our availability of those machines has gone up. Yeah, I'd like to say probably about 10% in the past year. So that's really exciting stuff. In terms of our specialty cleaning unit that works out of Quay Street Depot in Greenpoint, which is primarily a night operation. That's our mobile wash team, our track tile teams, and then refuse operations is headquartered out of that building, but they work at various terminals throughout the system. Some of the, generic equipment that they'll use, scrap pans, brooms, mops to disinfect, personal protective equipment, whether that be masks, whether that be gloves, whether that be face shields. They're best to identify them as a transit employee. Scrubber machine maintenance, like I said, we have a new vendor by the name of Continental Lift who's been instrumental in helping us to improve our scrubber machine availability in addition to some additional personnel that we have deployed to improve that. And we're really tracking metrics on those machines maybe in a way more closely than we have previously, which I think has helped us. We have a mobile wash vehicle fleet, again, out of Quay Street Depot, a little over 100 mobile wash vehicles, where there are 2 mobile wash guns as well as a heating unit that heats the hot water that can come out of those mobile wash guns to clean the system. We have a stations change management unit, which I have affectionately called SICMU, for lack of a better acronym. And they are led by one of my peers, Jermaine Jackson, who is top-notch, excellent. And she is responsible for providing enhanced training. They work closely with operations training, the School of Instruction for induction training. When cleaners come into the system from HR operations, they receive 1 month of training that's overseen by ops training. Then Jermaine's team brings them in for another week of extended training, almost want to call that on-the-job training. So we don't just put you out into the station. You're working with senior stations personnel to understand the nuances of some of the stations, some of the processes we follow, and how to clean our stations effectively in a safe manner. And then we offer cleaner refresher training. And Jermaine's team oversees mobile wash refresher training, which again is distinctly different than your basic cleaning. I hear this.
Yes.
Oh, can you hear me?
Somebody's on.
We go to the next slide. Great. So this really just to talk about some of the training that they see. So as I said, within the first month, they're going to go to the School of Instruction and they're going to receive training from operations training at PS 248. Some of the topics that they go over, tools and equipment, right to know in terms of chemical usage. DuPont also, they may use various chemicals such as degreasers, deodorizers, bleach solutions. So I want to be sure that folks are working safely. Further safety techniques in terms of slips, in terms of falls, good lifting techniques to break down those garbage cans, good ergonomics, track safety for our folks that work on the right of way, restroom cleaning, mobile wash operations, which I already said is kind of mobile wash, refuse are very specialized, different sort of functions that anybody could pick into those jobs. So you want to be sure that the folks coming out of training are equipped to handle them, fire and evacuation training. So as we said before, once they receive their training, induction training, they go to Jermaine's team for another SICMU for another week of field training. And then for the past 2 years, we've brought on probably well over 200 CTAs, and they have received this new on-the-job enhanced training. On the right-hand side, so one of the things that we've done over the past 2 or 3 years, which has been a labor of love with my quality assurance team and more importantly, Jermaine's team, is that we have revamped the entire station cleaning induction manual. So previously it was a many 100-page black and white typed document that folks would receive that wasn't so engaging, right? So we worked with an outside vendor, spent a tremendous amount of time ourselves, make it a little bit more colorful with some pictures, a lot of video learning, for the YouTube generation. Folks tend to learn, myself included, when I'm doing home repairs off YouTube. And, there's a lot of video shorts, short reference guides. We put out a new chemical dilution guide. So folks really have, a quick guide on how to use chemicals appropriately and safely, which I think has proven to enhance what we're doing and make it a little bit easier for folks to digest some of this stuff. So in terms of heavy duty cleaning, we have a fleet, so to speak, of a little over 350 scrubbers within the system. These are used primarily to clean tile floors. Some of them are really old and some of them are a little less old. The fleet probably ranges from a handful of years old to upwards more than 10 years of age. We have received some funding to procure new scrubbers. So one of the things that we are doing with our internal product team is we are researching possibly new scrubber machines to utilize. There's some new technology that we're trying to bring into the system, whether it be training materials that are actually built into the scrubber machine. So when you turn it on, there's a video screen there that'll walk you through some of the nuances of scrubber machine cleaning, better diagnostics, remote monitoring, tools that we don't currently have available to us that may be game changers in our availability to clean those tile floors in a better, more regular environment. As I said previously, we have a new vendor, Continental Lift, who's been very helpful so far in helping us to up our game in terms of the availability of these machines. Again, I will be frank with you to say that, most of these machines, I noticed when I said I'll be frank with you, all the heads turned.
That's because your name's Carl.
A lot of the machines that we use are more, you see these machines, they're cleaning like Roosevelt Field Mall, or they're used for indoor spaces where you don't have water intrusion. You don't have some of the hots, the colds, some of the it's a challenging environment to work in. And it beats the machines up, When salt gets trapped into the station during the winter weather months, these machines are scooping it up. That oxidizes the insides of these machines. So it's really, something that we've been looking for to try and work with our team system safety to be sure whatever we bring into the environment is safe for everybody to use. So we're kind of going back and forth in these new models and trying to find a best fit solution. That product unit that's also under SICMU has been testing a whole bunch of new cleaning products, some of which you may have seen and used throughout the system, whether that be degreasers, different types of cleaning wipes, corrosion inhibitors, deodorizers have been big. We've tested vanilla and cinnamon and strawberry and all different sorts of scents that have, tried to make the station environment a more pleasant place for our ridership and our customers. So, these are some of the neat toys, I should say toys, but tools, equipment that, our test unit has been working with. I saw the manual sweeper in action. It's really good for picking up like large pieces of, litter. If you have, say the kids are coming through the day after school lets out and we, drop a few thousand pages worth of paper in the station. This can get up lots of bulk litter quickly. The mobile cleaning cart on the right is a really maneuverable cleaning cart that locks in place. That seems like it may be a little bit more ergonomic and nimble than what we currently use. And then again, we've tried different sort of portable pressure washers over the years with certain amounts of success. We are using motor scrubbers. I don't have a picture of that here, but it's kind of like a rotary head that swirls around with soap and degreasers, and we use that on our overheads to get some of the grime and dust elephants out of the top of the system. That being said, I will turn it over to David for the rest of the presentation.
Hello, everyone. So I'll just continue on products. These right now that we're about to go over are some of the cleaning products, not all. So up until recently, there was a set list of cleaning products to use. It's not very easy to introduce new things because of, safety regulations, and also all our cleaners are unionized, and there's things that they're not permitted to use because of whatever union rules they may have. So in order to introduce new products, it has to go through a vetting process. So the station change management unit has also helped and assist with bringing in new products to get them approved by Civil Safety and approved by the union for cleaners to use. And they do a much better job than a lot of the old chemicals. Some of them, these are just some of the ones. First one is Detail Demon, that is for chrome shining, so that, helps with the elevator, escalators, finishes that get dirty. Another one would be a degreaser, non-corrosive, so it doesn't mess up the unfinished surfaces that we have in the stations already. Go ahead.
What is an unfinished surface?
A surface has not been painted.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that painting provides a layer of protection, but sometimes there's things out there that aren't painted, so, you're right on the surface of however it was made.
Yeah, potentially concrete, due to coefficient of friction, making it more slippery. We don't seal the concrete. So, that would also classify.
Then you have, this is a good one. This breaks down strong odors. As you know, there's a lot of people in the subway stations, especially in the summertime, a lot of unpleasant odors arrive that have been laying dormant during the winter months. So
why are they still there from the winter months?
Exactly.
Lingers, lingers and lingers.
So this helps with that. These provide, as they're cleaning, it provides a nice, stronger, pleasant smell for customers that will also stay and linger around for a little longer. As and as they keep using it, hopefully the smell consistently stays better. So I'm sure all of you walk through the subway stations, you see all the little black spots that once used to be gum. So it's
Right.
yeah, this helps for breaking down and removing of those, because yes, the cleaners do go with a scraper and scrape up every single little black dot you see on the platform and area of the station. So it's not always easy, depending on how long that gum has been stuck there. This is a chemical agent that's used to help remove that.
So my eyesight's very bad, or does it say down gun rather than gum?
Oh,
it does.
It does.
Correct.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Maybe you'll fix your sign or something.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely gonna fix it.
Yeah.
It could be, maybe it's good for both.
Well, usually know it is because we remove the gum with a pressure gun,
Right.
right? The mobile wash guns. But you can even remove the gum and then still there'll be a shadow sometimes left over. So you'll see the black dots that David's mentioning. You can even get the gum off and still it's persistent.
The next one is for removing rust stains. So this will work with the chrome cleaning. Again, all the escalators, all that chrome, and also on the elevators. Depending on the stuff that's, rain events at other elevators on the outside of the station, the metal can get rusty. So this helps with that.
Is that actually the manufacturer's name, Goof Off?
Yeah.
It's WM Bar is the manufacturer. Goof Off, I guess, is the name of that particular product.
I mean, they gave it the name, not you.
No, we did. No, that's that's what it is. That's what it's called. Not from us. Not from us.
I think it's a great name.
That is pretty good. Goof Off, right? And that's the last one is, so in the cold months when it's snowing, we do a lot of, ice melt. This helps get rid of that ice melt. Cause ice, in order to prevent slipping of the customers, there's a lot that gets put out there. So it's, not a small task to go in behind and start cleaning it all up. So this helps with that as well. And there's also a list of much more products that the team has put together. I think just year to date, they've been doing this for maybe a little over a year, maybe closer to a year and a half, and they've already introduced about like 46 different products. So they're really getting going with that and providing the cleaners with the resources they need to do a better job out there in the stations. But look like you had something coming.
Yeah, because the first slide said this is done daily in all 472 sections. Is there a particular time of day that this is done? Is this done when riders are likely to not be around that much? Like, obviously, it's not done in rush hour.
No, well, there's cleaning that's done throughout the day, but they also have other things they do throughout the day, like you'll see cleaners like removing trash, you'll see them sweeping. And yes, when things get lighter, then they'll be using the chemicals they need to use to clean. A lot of them do it at night as well. So, yeah, no, we're not.
Are certain stations where there is much higher ridership and other kinds of visitors likely to get more than once a day cleaning?
Yeah, so you will find, generally speaking, right, and having worked with, some of the strategic initiative folks on this, I have a bit of an analytical background. We have looked at factors such as ridership, square footage, customer satisfaction scores, assets within the station, whether you're talking like linear feet of handrail, square footage of the station, to try and understand what the best use of our cleaning resources is. And in addition, whether it's elevated station, subway station. So, by no means is it, do I think that we're perfect? But we have worked over the years to really take our job program, which are the pick jobs and where those jobs are allocated, and work with the group station managers to understand their challenges and take those over 2,000 cleaners and allocate them during the 3 tours. To answer your question in terms of what folks will see, for our riders that happen to be out and about around midnight, you will see that the bulk of our cleaning forces, whether it be mobile wash, HDC operations, refuse, and then our basic routine cleaners who are emptying cans during the day. The bulk of our cleaning is done on the night.
August 9th.
Yeah, because, if I'm pushing the Zamboni through the station, I want to do it when there's minimal riders on the station who I'm going to impact. When I'm not me, but when our teams are pressure gunning stations, again, you want to have a minimal impact on ridership. So that is when the bulk of the heavy duty cleaning and the major cleaning is done. But that being said, all stations receive cleaning throughout the day. Busier stations receive more, smaller stations.
Yeah, and the reason I asked that was because Stewart had raised the issue on the connecting passageway at Fulton Street, between the 2, 3 and the 4, 5, that whole walkway. And he's also mentioned seeing lots of litter at West 4th Street in various places, and that station is tons of areas, as you know.
But maybe they're gonna get to that, but
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Well, I got those two. We'll talk to them right after the.
want to make sure that's on the record.
Absolutely.
Let's do
We continue to the, this one. So restrooms, public restrooms. There are 165 stations and a total of 125 restrooms throughout the transit system in all 4 boroughs. Restrooms are cleaned twice a day. They're open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. During that time, they close for an hour from 1 to 2 p.m. for clean. Disinfecting on the night tour at 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. during that time frame, there is a more heavy duty cleaning and disinfecting that goes on. Each district, and when I say districts, I mean boroughs, but we call them districts, have a dedicated high intensity tactile team that does a more heavy duty disinfecting and cleaning of the station. So they are reaching to get overhead fixtures, they are washing the tile walls, amongst all the regular routine cleaning that gets done. They're using pressure washers, they're using scrubbing machines, they're using spinner machines to pick up the dirt and grime off the concrete floors and the tile floors. And that's that each district has them. They cater to, there's a schedule also, and the schedules are controlled by the districts. So, they pick what stations are going, and the plan for the future for that. You can go to the next slide. These are just some of the pictures of the work. As you can see, the first one is Queens Plaza. On the left, that was the floor right in front of those doors in the mezzanine. And after the hit team went there, you can see how much nicer and cleaner the area is. And the other one is at Utica Ave on the AC line. And that is the escalator. And you can see on the left, all the pigeon droppings and stains on it. And if you look over to the right, see how much nicer that looks after the hit team has been there to clean it up. So, and they do this every day, every night. These are just some employees at work. That's a example of overhead cleaning, so they're cleaning all the fixtures and pipes and conduit. To make sure they get all the dust and whatever maybe hanging off of those things. Restroom cleaning, power washing. I don't know if you guys can see it, but she's using the power wash gun to spray down the turnstiles, get all the dust and grime off of them. And the last one is a picture of an employee cleaning the ADA tactile, so they can stay nice and bright yellow. Next slide. And that is it.
One quick question, then I'll open it up. Obviously, by the end of this year, we won't have to clean where you slide your MetroCard in, because those obviously get grimy and injure the cards, but will be all Omni by the end of the year. So that will be something we don't have to do, correct? We won't have to have the people clean the turnstile slides.
As long as they're still there, they will clean them because there's still steel dust that flies through the station. So they're going to continue cleaning as normal. And to the day that those turnstiles are not there, that's when they won't.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, and the station agents are actually responsible for cleaning that area. Part of the station agent responsibility. I'll speak to your two previous questions, then whatever else folks have. So in terms of the passageway at Fulton, and I should know this, but I don't know off the top of my head if that is our area or that's Westfield's. But I can certainly find out if it's Westfield's area. Westfield is
the landlord.
It's portions of Fulton Transit Complex are privately owned. And in those cases, for our perspective, we'll interface with them, say, hey, this area might need maintenance, this might need cleaning if we notice something. But those are areas where our forces, generally speaking, do not deploy for either cleaning or maintenance.
Is that where the stores and the?
There are aspects of that station that are privately owned.
Is it turnstile to turnstile, everything within the turnstile is you?
I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew exactly. I know there's areas of it that are owned by Westfield, some of which are not intuitive. And generally speaking, the group station manager who runs that knows that in and out and works with Westfield probably on an almost daily, if not weekly basis. But I'll find out.
So the part you're talking about is between the two.
It's not the Westfield portion.
It's the 2-3 to the A, so it comes from the Seaport side, almost, that side of the Fulton side.
The eastern end of that.
Eastern end?
William Street, yeah.
But I'll mention to the group station manager and,
Yeah, it's on the opposite entrance side.
But my questions are not limited to that station.
Right.
the one thing that I'll tell you, both Fulton and West Fourth would qualify this. Now, all stations are different. I don't think it'd be a shock to tell anybody that West Fourth were challenged by quality of life issues. I've actually been speaking with our track department. There have been probably a higher number of we don't want any track fires, but probably higher number of track fires at West Fourth than one would think, which fit a station that profile, part of that are quality of life issues. And we work with police to try and improve that. But that is probably related to some of the cleanliness issues at West Fourth within our stations and our station complexes. So one of the things that challenges stations as well as other parts of the authority is employee availability. Another thing that challenges all of subways and the authority is our ability to backfill certain jobs, right? So if cleaner number 123 calls in sick, there's a process by where our crew staffing office, which reports up to me, may or may not backfill that job.
That almost sounds like the perfect ad for those things that you see for bus and subway service. We're cleaning as many stations as we can with the cleaners we have available.
And listen, service delivery, they're going to backfill you on overtime because they have to make service. Us, it's a little bit more discretionary. Both Fulton and West 4th Street are designated. In the case of Fulton, it's designated as a station complex, meaning more stations. Build that complex, West 4th is just massive.
But it's a complex.
It is
because
not. It's one station with multiple lines, but it's not multiple stations. Regardless, it's over 100,000 square
And you
feet.
don't have any private, because there's no,
It's not private.
was there anything?
No, it's not privately owned, but both these areas are must-cover stations. So our crew staffing office, anybody calls in sick, as long as we have somebody willing to take the overtime, we will fill those jobs on overtime. Whereas smaller profile stations, that may not be the case. But, I will certainly refer to the group station manager. Any concerns specifically within any particular area of West Fourth?
It's going to be the north end of the station.
North end of the station?
The exits at the north end. Appreciably different than the southern end. But again, I'm really not interested in talking about specific stations, I'd like to, if I have the floor, go back to the first slide where we talk about the number of staff of the deployment.
Sure. Our 2,000 stations.
We talked about some of this, and you had talked about this at prior visits.
Sure.
Just trying, so the group and the new members of the group, just to get an understanding of how the people are deployed.
Sure.
So here we go. That's it. Okay. So if there are 2,000 cleaners and there are 472 stations. And Andrew started to allude to this, you know, because someone might see something at a particular time of day.
Sure.
And come to a false conclusion if it was going to be cleaned at another time of day. So for the 2,000 staff that do regular routine cleaning.
So is
the same
that
people at each station each day?
So that's a no. But some of them are, right? So the first thing that I'll share with you is that of those 2,000 CTAs, that's not all routine cleaning. So everything's baked into that 2,000. Refuse operations, which is 100 cleaners roughly, who are working the garbage trains at night. Mobile wash who's doing the power washing. Track tile, which is another 25-ish cleaners. Our hit team, which is another 64 cleaners. That's all baked into that 2,000 number.
So 17, how many are devoted?
Routine cleaning, rough order of magnitude, I want to say roughly maybe 12 to 1,300
Okay.
who do routine cleaning. Of that 2,000, right? So many of these folks pick jobs and will work the same stations day to day. However, there may be folks who are in extra jobs or various jobs who will cover vacations potentially, or may work through the system as floaters that will not be at the same station every day. Additionally, we may have one cleaner that during their tour, say for instance, they're going to get on at Atlantic, right? And then they're going to clean aspects of Atlantic. Then they may hop the train to Nevins, spend 2 hours at Nevins, and then come back to Atlantic for another 2 hours. So during their tour, generally speaking, I think when I ran the numbers, you know, on average, depending on what pick you're looking at, a cleaner could have an average of 2 stations during their tour. Some could have one and be at Times Square for the full 8 hours. Some could, in the Rockaways, have 3 stations during their 8 hours. So all jobs and locations are different. And again, as I kind of mentioned before, the way that we staff these locations is based on a numerous factors, including customer feedback and customer satisfaction levels.
Okay, so let's say West 4th Street or Fulton Street. What would be the average staff that are assigned there, Dan?
I would say, I know that
Routine.
Fulton receives heavy amounts of CTA hours. What I will do, because I can pull that number for you, I'd rather give you an exact number than an estimate. But there's a decent amount of cleaners at both those stations, but I can break it down for you by tour and resource and I'll send it to Albert.
So we're factoring the deployment decisions based on station usage.
Ridership square footage.
And customer feedback.
Among other things, yes.
What's the vehicle for getting that customer feedback?
The pulse, the pulse surveys. So we work with strategic initiatives and there's a monthly pulse survey and then twice a year in the fall and the spring, we see the detailed breakdown station by station. And myself, David, we churn through those numbers. We speak to the GSMs about the customer feedback that we're seeing at certain stations. We look at certain zones and, you know, not all zones are created equally. I don't know if you're familiar with the GSM map. You know, you have the zone that I think is zone 8 that involves the 2nd Avenue stations versus zone 9 where you're looking at Chambers Street, the Lower East Side, which is, if you're the GSM in a lot of respects, those are challenging stations due to quality of life issues and just the general, you know, fact that a lot of those stations need capital renovation.
One other question, just to understand this again.
Absolutely.
So when we say the 8-hour shift,
Mhm.
are we talking 9 to 5? Are we talking 10 to 6? What's the span? Because I said in fairness to you that if we observe something, debris or whatever we observe could be after they did the routine cleaning.
Sure, and that certainly happens with either graffiti or litter, you know. If you're looking at a station, right, just, and David runs our quality assurance team, feel free to, you know, chime in on any of this as I'm looking through a station, right? If I see a fresh coffee stain or a Starbucks cup, I'm going to be not happy, but I'm going to be probably not as dissatisfied with what we're doing as if I see a ground stain that clearly has been there for some time. And the more you walk the stations, you can probably tell the age of how long something's been sitting there. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the cleaning numbers, I will get you those numbers for those two stations. In terms of deployment of personnel, is it possible that, you know, on 3 tours being like AM generally, not always, but I would say 80% of our cleaners plus are working 6 to 2 or 7 to 3 on the AM tour. And then, you know, on the PM tour, which is probably our least populated tour in terms of cleaning resources. Again, you're probably talking around 2 to 10. And then the night tour, either out of Quay Street or within the stations on HDC cleaning, generally you're talking 9P to 5A, 10P to 6A.
So most of my observations are from the 2 to 10 periods.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
So that-
generally speaking, yeah, I mean, particularly if you're near it. You know, depending on the school, it can get rough. You know, you see packs of kids come through and maybe they're not as conscientious as I would like them to be. And that can be a challenge for our cleaners, frankly.
Last question.
Sure.
Sure, I understand the question. So when you came to join us 2 times ago, you talked about union challenges and the deployment of staff.
Okay.
That if you know, someone called out, that it was difficult for you to, like even today, to backfill, or just making sure that you had people that you could go wherever you needed them to go.
Sure.
You were complaining, but not, that's my word, flexible.
Sure, I mean.
Has that changed? Has that changed?
In terms of CBA, probably not. And I listen, I work on a regular basis with Robert Kelly and the TWU team, and we have a great relationship in stations. And, you know, do we disagree on things from time to time? Absolutely. But we make it work in a good way for the benefit of the riders and our union employees. In terms of cleaning hours, these are pick jobs, right? So if there is, say, you know, an incident where there's biohazardous materials on the station, or I'll say a cleaning emergency, we can absolutely pull cleaners out of that taken care of. If there's blood on a station, vomit on a station, without getting to, you know, supervision will pull somebody to have that taken care of ASAP. In terms of, you know, saying, hey, I'm going to move this cleaner throughout the system because of X, Y, and Z, there's some less flexibility there. There are extra jobs. You know, say we have a training class of 16 cleaners that come out between picks, they're designated as extras. So we can backfill jobs on regular straight time using those resources. Are they as prevalent as I would like? Probably not. But, you know, our crew staffing office does a pretty good job of what we can do in terms of that. And, you know, then those 1,200-ish folks that are doing routine cleaning, you know, every 7 days, they get days off. That's most folks. And, you know, as I think everybody in the room is aware, New York City Transit Collective Bargaining, they have a pretty generous amount of sick time and vacation time that they can use. And, you know, that certainly contributes to availability issues that we do have. You know, we do what we can in terms of employee recognition, working with our partners in the IOD unit and the availability unit to try and inspire our folks to be at work when they're supposed to be.
IOD?
Injury on duty.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Chris?
First of all, I know Kalia's on her way and
She's right there.
Oh, that's Cicely. Cicely.
I said Kalia.
Oh.
That's Cicely. Sorry, I'm giving him a look too. Let me get to the question, what I'm trying to say. She's still right there. Let me just focus on one thing. I put in,
Hang on, I'm almost.
as I was saying is, there's been issues that I do put in the complaint. There is one station, I'm gonna say, Times Square, 42nd Street, elevator EL 619. Yes, I did put it in for the 20th time.
Right.
No, I'm saying it for the record. I want
I can't. Which elevator?
EL
Yep.
619.
Okay.
That's right across from the 42nd Street shuttle. It's supposed to be the new one, but now I'm gonna call it the extreme bathroom elevator.
Okay, yep.
And I'm saying it that way because people are eating. But the bottom line is the only way I can go in that elevator, I have to put hand sanitizer in my face just to breathe. And I have put this in so many times.
Yep.
It's not just inside the elevator, but when you're on the street level with all that construction,
Sure.
it is smelling bad.
Mhm.
And I have asked for that place to be clean. Like it needs to be like, it needs an air freshener
Understood.
in that one. You have some elevators, and I'm not gonna mention all of them because I did put this on email in, and I put them all in my complaints into the app. But the bottom line is we've seen graffiti, we've seen regular plain dirt inside the car, but out in when the elevator goes up and down, there's a lot of dust. And we have asked, last time I was here, I asked you, when you're gonna be cleaning those dust, because there's some part of the windows you can't see in case of an emergency, say someone gets stuck in the elevator. It's hard to see. So is there a way we can, I know at nights you guys do it, but
I would share with you, and again, there's different aspects of the problem. Clearly at Times Square, if, I have not been to elevator 619 in recent memory, but it sounds like a persistent quality of life issue. So, we can certainly clean it once a tour, but even if we clean it once a tour, that may not be enough to address the condition. So we can certainly try to work with our partners and homeless outreach. I will mention it to the GSM. And additionally, from my experience, what I've seen is sometimes urine that goes down into the elevator shaft. And that's beyond what a normal cleaner can do. Then we have to work with the folks in elevator and escalators.
What's on now?
It's probably fire alarm.
No, it's probably the end.
Oh, yeah, they're doing the
done.
proposal base, sorry, just want to make sure that's what they.
That's it. I was hoping I didn't have to. Hold a second.
just to add one thing, I do appreciate. But similar like that elevator, and I know Stuart mentioned the other side, but coming to the 4-5 train where that platform is, and I forget the number.
Yes.
4-5 elevator Fulton.
Yeah, the one that goes from the uptown and meets the other connection to the other trains. That one area, even when you leave from the elevator, doesn't matter which floor you're on, that one needs to be clean as well. It smells very bad, and I did put it in for the record.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that sometimes the elevators are also dissented. And the elevators are a function of the last person who was in them with all of their belongings.
Yeah.
And not just what might be lurking in the corners.
Agreed.
I mean, like I said, talking about server machines, it's a challenging environment. It's a challenging environment for those elevators and escalators that, in addition to that, the hydraulic fluid, I've seen elevators that just have malfunctioning issues where sometimes the grease and the lubricating fluid can get pretty raunchy, never mind what gets inflicted into the system. But, I will certainly mention to the GSMs and talk with our colleagues in elevators and escalators about seeing what can be done.
And as I was trying to say the last one, and we got cut. And I just lost my train of thought I was saying.
There'll be another train shortly.
Thank you, Andrew, but
No.
but I'm getting interrupted.
Can I call on someone else then while you're thinking?
And I could do my second question after?
Yes.
Thank you.
Aaron.
Let me tell you the two questions and you can answer in whatever order. I was curious if you had the ability to incorporate self-cleaning functions in the bathrooms, whether self-cleaning toilets or total self-cleaning bathrooms.
So I know, see some of those, I don't know where in the States, but I know I've seen the technology in Europe. I know that to some degree, although I was not involved, that, we certainly tested different technologies. One of the concerns, and I know that's one of the reasons we went to the stainless steel fixtures is, we can put some of the nicest self-cleaning technology, but if somebody takes a sledgehammer to it. It's a balance between what's vandal resistant. I mean, you see it with the digital signage, right? And I will certainly want us to have nice things. I can mention to the station maintenance folks, and C&D. But I think that would be my primary concern. But yeah, no, it would be wonderful. Sure, absolutely.
Second question was about how extreme weather, temperatures and conditions affect the ability to use certain cleaning products as well as clean and efficiently. So like, I'm curious, like if there's certain temperatures where some of those products you may not be able to use as safely as possible, or if you have to change the way you use them.
I'm trying to think, and Michelle has worked in the field more recently. Yeah, I can't think of chemical effectiveness. I mean, we'll cold weather clean. The only thing that we won't do, which is if it gets cold enough in the station, we're not gonna power wash it, right? Those trucks don't really work too well into 32 degrees because there's all pump mechanisms that'll freeze up and then it costs a lot of money. But outside of that, chemicals. The only thing that I will tell you, which, just the nature of how things work. And, I think we've all been in a station when it's 100 degrees out and 120 or 130. And I'll share with you that I don't think that we can expect a cleaner to work the same when it's 125 degrees in the station than when it's, normal room temperature is 72, 68 degrees. So there's that human factor to take into concern. And I know one of my boss's missions is doing everything we can to, the station is a challenging environment to get them air conditioning in our employee facility rooms where they can take cooling breaks. That's something that's really paramount to us to be sure that our employees can, feel their best while they're working. But outside of those two factors, not too much I can think of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But,
I could think of.
yeah.
We've been talking about, well, your responsibility is stations, but subway cars pull into station. And when the doors open on subway cars, and some of them are kind of dirty, the car, and then people walk out and they bring the dirt with them.
Mhm.
Is there some, oops, oh, let's get clear. By question that she gets.
Hi, how are you?
Live in person now.
Live in person of meeting.
We don't want to.
Okay, anyway, is there some kind of I don't know. There are people, obviously there are people responsible for, or there's a whole unit, clean subway cars get clean when they go in the yard, whatever. But is there some kind of when the dirt comes from the subway car, when it pulls in the station, or how is that handled,
Sure, I can give you some background on it. So,
in terms of who is responsible for what?
so generally speaking, within Division of Stations, which is our area, that is responsible for cleaning in the station common. What we would call car cleaning is managed by car equipment, which is another division. And then I've never actually worked for car equipment, but as I understand it, there's a terminal car cleaning operation where they'll work at terminals like Stillwell, and they'll have station cleaners on the platform who, when the train comes into the station while you're being turned around, will clean the interior of the train car, and they may additionally receive further cleaning at the train yards. I don't know if anything else.
That's correct.
But I'm not talking about the term, I'm talking, I'm in it.
While it's moving.
And it pulls into, it recently happened to me, it pulls into Grand Central.
Mhm.
You have people, so obviously, we talked about, the big stations, okay, but the train comes in and dirt or an old or something, who would then,
Yeah, I mean, if the dirt's in the station, it's on us.
no, but if it comes from the car, from the subway car,
Yeah.
it's brought from the subway car station, I mean, is.
Then we own it. If there's litter if it's litter that say, there's newspapers and they fly out of the car and they wind up on the platform, then we own those newspapers.
But as long as if they're in the car,
It's car equipment.
it's car equipment.
Once the door opens, it comes out.
Can't go into the car to.
Generally speaking, and again, what's
Question is of turf,
Correct. Yeah, no, they would handle it, but I would suggest to you that if our personnel see something or the conductor sees something that's egregious, and this happens from time to time where a car will be taken out of service if there's an extreme issue on that car. But yeah, by and large, cars aren't clean while they're in service.
And just to follow up on Trudy's, if something blows onto the tracks, does station take care of track beds as well?
No, that's under MOW's purview, but we work with our partners in track to say, hey, in an effort to provide the best experience possible and to prevent track fires. Even, as of today, I'm working with our group station managers to identify, because we have more eyes on the system than they do, areas of the track bed that may need more cleaning.
So that.
So you'll let them know
Absolutely.
that you notice that this particular track bed needs.
All right, Lisa.
So the vacuum trucks.
Not our purview
Not your
under MOW, but
Right.
again, if we see, a particular station, we
Yeah.
will work with them even to the point where they say, hey, and this has come up at West Fourth Street. Hey, we're getting a lot of track litter. Do you think you have any, can you just survey, be sure you think you have enough garbage cans there, check your cleaning resources, but by and large, the issue there is quality of life issues.
Oh, so there is communication between the different
We talk.
sessions.
Yeah.
They may not want to hear from it, but we talk. Yes.
I know you have a budgeted headcount of just north of 2,000. Just curious.
Station cleaners.
Yes. Well, how many are actually hired and in a more
How
ideal?
many vacancies do we have?
Yeah, and
So we were really challenged in terms of vacancies at the start of the year for a variety of reasons. Again, there's a pipeline, right? HR has so many people that they can onboard. Then we have to be sure that HR can, process them. They get into training. Do we have enough trainers that can train people? Right now, I'd say we probably have a little over 100 vacancies. Yeah, probably a little over 100 vacancies.
is 2,000 enough? Or in a more ideal world?
It depends on the level of cleanliness that, we can afford and we desire. Would I like for our stations to be cleaner? Absolutely. Within the financial constraints we have, we try to do the best work we have. Sure, if we have double that, we have 4,000 state cleaners with the stations look cleaner. Yeah, I would certainly hope so. Do we have the fiscal resources to do that? Probably not.
I have a question. Now, we're gonna backtrack a little bit. I was-
Go ahead.
Thank you for your patience. About the materials that you use, to clean the stations. Obviously, I'm a wheelchair user, but I also ambulate on crutches.
Mhm.
And I have a lot of clients that do so as well. And I don't know if it's been brought to your attention that those chemicals can be very slippery. Not just for people that are on crutches or a walker, but even in wheelchairs, it's sliding. Have you all considered that can be a real hazard, a slip and fall hazard in the stations that are accessible, and considering which products that you use to clean the station?
So I will share with you, and that's, when we're reviewing those chemicals, one of the things that happens, and, we can certainly take a look at it, is that all chemicals that are used by us, right? Whether it be because of pH levels, acids, that there are certain things that, muriatic acid will clean a station, but it'll blow up your drain pipes. So something like that you would have to use very carefully. As I mentioned kind of before, in terms of what would be called coefficient of friction, we work with system safety to say, hey, is this safe to use? Is this too slippery? Will this cause slips, trips, and falls? By and large, not by and large, if we use it, it has been vetted and approved by system safety. We wouldn't use chemicals that they would deem to have that issue. The only thing that I can think of, which is one of the things that, and I don't know why it happened, but I know that we try to work on it, is you'll find that times probably in the spring or right after you get a snowstorm, sometimes some of the snow ban, and again, it's like a double-edged sword, right? If we don't put enough of it down and our stations aren't clear of snow and ice, somebody's gonna slip, trip, and fall. But when the stuff melts and it gets a little wet and humid and damp, it can become a little more slippery than I would certainly like. That being said, I know one of the products you mentioned, it was which one was it? It was a snow and ice remover, or a snow and ice melt remover. So it's, something that we're working on. There's all sorts of double-edged. So, we put down a wet floor sign, right? And, we love to put wet floor signs down. And then, and a person who's has challenged with mental illness takes it and flings it at a subway car, and then I have breaks in emergency. And I'd love to tell you that doesn't happen, but it does. So there are challenges in working with the environment, but, I'll certainly note it and put it in front of my mind as something that maybe we could do a little better at.
Okay, Chris, you had your next question?
Yes.
Oh, you're not done?
No.
Oh, sorry. Please go on.
No, that's good. I love to smell the cherry, but I love the cherry smell, but from experience, even with Chris,
Even with this.
even we have I actually go to the stations, and one of the things that we have noticed a lot is yes, the floors look amazing. Yes, they look shellacked and beautiful. And I actually do think this is something that should be brought to your attention, that it is slippery. Maybe an hour or two after being put down. So it's not like when you just first put it down and it's drying, it's an hour or two after.
Any particular station or time of day you experience it
That
more?
was about, the last one was what, Metropolitan? It's
Yeah,
about 2
Metropolitan and
o'clock in the
Longmont,
afternoon?
yeah. You're
About 2
talking,
o'clock in the
yeah, yeah,
afternoon?
yeah.
My other question
And there's
was,
no warning, there's no, let me just add what you're saying. There is, and there, that was what I was trying to say, and thank God you're backing up. There was one piece, it's like, when you're wiping a floor or you clean it, there's no saying warning wet floor.
no mop, like
Yeah.
the yellow
Yeah.
triangle.
Which is one of the reasons sometimes we will tape areas off with,
There was no tape.
with the caution
Yeah.
tape, but if I put them, we try everything in our power not to put wet floor signs down on the platform. Mezzanine, fine. Platform, no, because they tend to get flinged at cars and thrown on the track.
But this is one of those slopes that you kind of walk up and to get to the thing, and this railing there.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so if the railing is clean, maybe the person is more likely to hold on to the railing and, to.
Yeah, they can mention that to the group station manager responsible. That one of the things that we do work on in David's team, you want to tell a little bit about the mobile wash inspections you do? And I'm thinking kind of like the pooling water that we
Sure. So our mobile wash team who power washes the stations, that's the best way to get all the grime and stuff off the platforms. We do go and make sure that there's functions of it. So you have someone who's power washing, and you also have someone that's pushing water, making sure that they remove all the water to prevent slipping. We go on at night because this happens at night, and just make sure that that's happening. So that, they're not just power washing, as much as we like our, believe our employees are doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing all the time. We do have to watch them sometimes. And we'll go and we'll make sure that that's happening. The water's being pushed. And they also put out fans to dry as much of the area as they can.
So why does, when you have a big graffiti hit, why are trains taken out of service? Or sometimes when the trains have a big graffiti hit? Why does that happen?
Well, we can't.
Transit policy in terms of, providing the public with rolling stock that looks like we would want it to look.
Yeah.
Right. Chris, you had one more, right?
Yes, and I'm just gonna come in. One station I was trying to say, and it actually looks clean, it does have a record of clean, because it's not like a smelly kind, it's a, regular dust dirty thing which they do sweep. King's High on the B&Q. That one, it's nice to see to go in, no problems. Yes, you get dust, so you got a little garbage, but that's like a better dirt.
Steel dust?
Yeah, steel dust, which I'm not complaining, because I do see them cleaning it. That's a good example station, because I use that station a lot. That's the only nearest one for not just me, my mother, or anyone, because after going towards south, the next one is Stillwell Avenue. But the bottom line, what I'm seeing is, and it's been brought to my attention, is West 8th Street. And I did see you have a picture of West 8th, similar. As you know, in the back entrance of West 6th Street, which is that walkway, you have a lot of people complaining that escalator gets, damaged, which is a different issue, but it does get a lot of pigeon poop. And when I say pigeon poop, it's like, forget it. Before you walk over there, you better make sure your shoes are clean later, because it's disgusting.
Yep.
And there's been complaints that someone has been cleaning, and the way they clean, they spray and then all that water goes right to their cars. Government relations is aware of this, but it's been complaints in that community right next to you, those water tower houses. So if there a possibility, if you guys are gonna clean, can we just, I don't know if it's you guys, I don't know, but all I'm asking is communication.
What part of the station is this?
West 8th Street.
No, what part of West 8th?
With the West 6th Street, where that escalator is going up, because sometimes I know times that pigeon poop does damage the escalators, which I already knew that. But also, and I'm going that's far as I'm going, because I don't want to upset Andrew, because he might start crying. Something.
Not likely.
No, I will plead the fifth. Let's just say the bottom line is station needs to be clean, painted, and everything else. That's what I'm trying to say.
So one of the things that I'll share with you about West 8th and, working, the pigeons are an issue. And I know that the cleaners there actively probably lose their minds, but are actively, work on a daily basis to mitigate that situation. One of the things that we've been looking at in our partners in station maintenance may put up pigeon deterrents, but I don't want to, how shall I say this, spend a ton of money there on pigeon deterrents right now because I know we checked in the next 2 years. That station is slated to receive a lot of capital work. And nothing
was right.
bother me more than to invest a lot of money on pigeon deterrents to have it blown up by contractors. But that may be part of, in working with our folks in facility station programs to be sure that whatever gets put in there, that maybe we do put some additional pigeon deterrents in there to try and improve the customer environment, so to speak.
I was just you spoke with Anthony Drummond because him and I have been checking it over there and it's been some concern of safety.
Okay, I will mention it.
We have to wrap up.
Okay.
But one last question,
Sure.
and I'm sure it's on everybody's mind because we loved your presentation today, but do you have supervisors, for instance, that visit a station after it has ostensibly been cleaned to check on the kind of job that was done there,
So.
to review the various personnel?
So within stations, right? We're roughly 5,000, a little under 5,000 because all our station agents are there as well. We have a cadre, we're budgeted for like 380 station supervisors. Which is not even, it's about 1 to 10 employees. And we have supervision that is, working on multiple jobs and honestly, dollar for dollar, if I could have more of any title, would probably be station supervisors. So do they oversee every single episode of cleaning the system? Absolutely not. Do they move throughout the system to ensure that things are being handled appropriately? Yes. To the best of their ability, I can show on a daily basis whereby they have interactions with certain cleaners that they feel the work is not satisfactory, that they're engaging with that cleaner. They escalate to their manager.
So that has happened.
Corrective action. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A ton, more than I would like to see. But again, I think we're probably in a lot better place in terms of customer satisfaction and how the stations are looking than the last time I came to visit.
Yeah.
And is there a place that just a regular rider can report conditions in a station that are not really clean or not very welcoming to the ridership? Is there a number to call or is there a text or anything?
Yes.
System.
Yeah. So, we get
On the
complaints.
website, there's the 311. You can use the 311, make a complaint.
Okay.
Or you can go in and make the complaint directly into the website.
You can text us out now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Text.
Social
It's
media.
on,
Go through.
yeah, it's on
Work.
We have an.
WhatsApp,
yeah.
it's on everything.
off WhatsApp now.
WhatsApp or.
It's off WhatsApp.
Complaint or.
It is.
It's the same. And that's, how do you, and then who decides that it goes to you or?
Have our resident expert on customer complaints here. Michelle can walk you all through it.
Yeah.
It's assigned to the manager who takes care of that area. And then it cascades down to the supervisor and eventually the cleaner will get to clean it. And we all receive a response. If you put the check mark to get a response, you'll get a response. Once it's clean.
As other complaints dealing with service or with.
Yeah, it's the same place that you.
But you take a look, you go through and see which pertains to you.
Yes.
And if we see one that doesn't belong to us, say
Sign it.
we see that, car number 1682 has X, Y, and Z and needs to be cleaned, we'll refer to partners and car file.
Which is what you said before.
And you will get notified of, let's say, a station that has more complaints than any others or keeps getting complaints.
Yeah, some of those things, yes, do tend to percolate up to me. The other thing that I would share with everybody, and I know from time to time you have seen our station agents, our cleaners, our supervisors performing what you would consider to be an excellent job. And you can also use the same vehicle to give them a commendation.
Oh, sure.
If you see that they're doing something that's fine.
You do it that other.
Above and beyond.
Are there pictures in the station to tell you who the supervisors are that how to contact them if something's happening? That's something.
Picture
of the group
Station manager.
Yeah.
And there's an email associated with it as well.
Yeah,
They do.
But if you contact the station manager and it pertains to your area, they'll let you know, right?
But they're the ones who are in charge of that area. Whatever picture they.
No, I mean, no. But if it has to do with cleaning,
Mhm.
and they will then let you know.
That's-
I understand the station
Okay.
manager.
Thank you again so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Really wonderful. A lot of our questions.
Yeah, and I'll send you some of that information.
Great.
to-
Thank you, Carl.
Appreciate it.
Some of that. Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Pleasure. Have a
Thank
great
you
day.
so much.
So guys.
Take care. Thank you.
Have a cookie.
I definitely don't need a cookie, but I thank you.
All right, thanks.
I got it. Doesn't matter, but I.
Hello, Clea.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ann.
I made
Anytime.
it.
I hope that shows that.
I made it. It doesn't even matter if it's accepted.
Well,
right or
it
not.
looks like it's easier to find out what's going on there, and it's easier to report a complaint now. I pick up debris when I see it on platforms. I put it in the trash cans. Yeah. Okay, folks, we're gonna move on. We've got a lot yet left to do, believe it or not. Did you want to do?
Let's do the business of the
Oh, yes, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Any objections? Oh, okay, that's approved.
Andrew,
any
we
objections?
have to approve the agenda.
That's just done.
Then
The minutes.
Minutes, motion to approve the minutes.
second. Trying to speed up your.
Anybody objecting? Okay, we're approved.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Very
You
quickly,
didn't find any spelling mistakes.
as we discussed at PCAC, PCAC staff has done, is undertaking a review of all of the PCAC bylaws, the different council bylaws to make them all consistent. And also be reflective of some of the, more robust changes or actuality of what we do, in our authorizing legislation. That's more of a legislative thing that we're working for next year. But I'm sorry, I'm gonna need to interact upon this, so just.
No,
if
I'm
you have
just,
questions.
there's no way that we can, I know we got them online, but there's no way that you had.
Not a
So
printout of
this is not, hold on, so what we're gonna do today is not vote on the changes, but vote to move them to next month. So you'll have an opportunity, again, to look at them, to have a robust discussion before we vote on them, and then they take effect. So to basically, the call out was that we've added the bike ped member to each of the councils, adjusted on for each of the councils and for PCAC, the total number of council members with that addition, added language to clarify the removal of members for failing to meeting attendance requirements. For TRC, that is 3 consecutive meetings or 6 meetings in a year.
Missing or attending?
Missing, failing to meet. There are some provisions for acceptable excused absences. There is language already in the bylaws that talks about how, that we would currently write a letter to the governor and say we'd like to remove them. This goes a little further to talk about the steps to do that. The next key recommendation is to move elections for TRC from June to May to be consistent with the other councils. And also because the PCAC elections are in June. And change the frequency of the elections to every other year to be in alignment with the other councils, as opposed to every year. Aligns the TRC committee structure with the other councils. So that continues to allow the chair to appoint committees and committee chairs as appropriate. So it doesn't have specific called out committees, as neither of the other councils do, nor PCAC, but it still allows the chair to convene specific committees. Adds language about meeting agendas, minutes, and records to be in alignment with other councils. Changes approvals of statements and press releases to the chair, and cleans up some typos and unnecessarily gendered language. So,
We ask some questions now?
sure.
My question is on, and I brought this up before, section 7. Is there any way that because the statements and press releases go out, and then I don't know about everybody else, but I then people who either read these things or hear them or anything call me and say, what's this about? And I don't know because I haven't seen it before it went out. Is there any way that we can see or somehow, know the statements, press releases that go public before they go out so that we, because they're attributed to all of us, not just to you, and
So that was never part of the bylaws. That's a conversation about process as opposed to bylaw changes.
no, because you have
So it
something in
was,
the
but it
bylaws.
was, it was a change from approval from TRC Executive Committee, which this bylaw would change to the chair.
Well, why not, why?
Trudy, I
Instead
can
of-
tell you that we would never get anything done.
Yeah.
No, not to have approval or anything, just to send it out so that we know what
But
we are saying.
how about we can and should always make an effort to, and sometimes because just of the way things happen, as you know, we'll make sure to push the button to send it to everybody when it goes out.
Yeah,
That would be very helpful.
add the council
No, that's good.
Do that.
Yes, absolutely.
Members to the release.
Yes,
Yep.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I have a question.
yes.
So therefore, I can understand, when you say you're giving the chair the committee parts, what's the exec member's role will be?
So if the chair, TRC is currently the only, is the only council that has an executive committee called out. It's the entire time I've been here, it's never been functioned as a separate committee. So what this does is allows the chair to convene an executive committee and designate its members without requiring it.
Fortunately, we haven't had to use it, but it could happen. You never know.
We have for personnel matters.
For personnel, yes,
We have convened three
but it's not
times.
frequent. Yeah,
Not for,
And the reason why I agree with Stuart, and the reason I'm saying is I just want to know what's the executive, because I'm exec, I know Stuart and I are, and Bert is the vice chair. Anything is going to be changing from that, or we stay where we are?
So Bert was reelected as the vice chair and is on the PCAC executive committee. So if the chair under these revised bylaws would determine that there should be an executive committee, then that could be a designation and members determined.
Okay.
so if we had a personnel matter involving staff or another member, you would then convene a special group on an ad hoc basis. But you could pick different people at different times, or they'd be designated people.
Or can it be committee of the whole where you
it
just
could be
designate,
one or both of those things.
where you designate the whole?
It could be the
Everybody.
whole, or it could be a
A subset.
subset of that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I
As is
understood that
necessary.
that was gonna be a sensitive issue. And we didn't want to take away the ability or not take away, suggest that not be an option or an opportunity.
Right.
Because
Do you need to
there,
put that in?
because that is something that if it needs to convene. But we are going for consistency so that we can show in other legislative asks that we have, like for instance, along the Railroad Commuter Council, we're asking for consistency with other councils. In other aspects of TRC, we're asking for consistency with the other councils. So we want to show that we have levels of consistency across the councils.
Except for fortunately, we don't have to have 6 nominations for a seat.
Right, that's so, right, exactly, and, or three, so that's what
Or
we're
three,
hoping,
right?
yes.
Crazy what some of the other councils have to deal with there.
I do have a second question that just brought to my attention.
Let's move quickly. I have a long report.
No, I understand. We're running late. I'm gonna get to the point. When you're mentioning members who are not attending, does that mean we have to have the exec meeting regarding certain those incidents?
No,
Okay,
it would just be, it's pretty clearly spelled out. Oh, it's already in the bylaws what the attendance requirements are. So that's pretty clear now. What isn't in there is just a removal process for the people who aren't meeting those requirements. And I think they're pretty liberal, and the chair has some discretion to give, you know, if someone has a medical condition or something else and needs an excuse.
Andrew does
No
let us
problem.
know. That I know. That I don't have to say, but
Technically, aren't all the members appointed by the governor?
Yes.
Yes.
So does the governor have any?
That's, we're working with the governor's office on that process, that aspect of the process.
Oh, so you don't have a process?
We are,
But we haven't had to.
we haven't
No,
had to yet.
But shouldn't there be a process in place in case you?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we've never
yeah.
had to do it before.
No, I
Right,
know
so,
we've never
yeah,
had
it's,
to do it
it's
before.
to work with it's to work with the governor's office on removal.
I think just to be clear, it's about this one, the reason I think why we put that in this is because there's this one member on LIRRCC who we haven't seen in, what is it, like 2 years?
Yeah,
So, I mean,
literally never shows up, doesn't respond to
Why is it
mail,
still a
email,
member?
or phone calls.
yes.
Right,
They're taking up a seat.
But
Someone,
taking up a seat and not
But
meeting.
the removal would actually be by the governor.
Correct.
Rather than
right.
any.
We would
Phase that they take the seat.
refer it to the
Yes.
governor.
Yes.
Correct. Yes,
Okay,
Okay.
so shouldn't that somehow be in
That language, you mean?
that language, shouldn't it somehow be in there?
we will,
I mean, I know,
we will finesse that, we will clarify that.
yeah.
Okay.
This
Thank
is
you.
just to move this to the next meeting. Remember.
Right, we're not voting on this now, we're voting on this.
So you'll get the language that everybody is suggesting.
Which,
Yes, you'll see this again.
and we can change or suggest
Yeah.
additional language or whatever.
So can we move this to the
Yes.
next?
And the other, I just have one other, yes, one of the other aspect of this is, even though it won't happen this year, we're continuing to work on changes to the open meetings law so that it's not a struggle to have a publicly accessible location like Bert's
Yeah.
living room. And but we're all going for tea and.
You hear that, Bert?
Yeah, have good
heard
cookies
you.
for.
Get the tea ready.
I see Sharon is leaving.
One final question about the, because I haven't read this recently, so the basis for the executive committee now here at the TRC. It's written in the existing bylaws.
Yes. No, it's not, it's written as,
Tell me, it says chair can form committees.
yes,
Names that as one of the committees.
it doesn't name it as in
Right,
the
so-
existing committees. In the existing bylaws, it does, and
But-
it,
And what does it say? It says the chair.
that it's under officers. The officers shall be elected by the members and consist of a chair, vice chair, and 3-member executive committee.
And that's going to be changed to,
Shall be elected by the officers or the chair and vice chair. And the chair will have the power to appoint committees and committee chairs as appropriate.
okay, but will you add the line that I gave about, or can meet as the committee of the whole council can meet as the committee of the whole? I don't know exactly, I mean, I could give you the verbiage, but so that basically, since, I mean, we're not
Well, it
this
says-
huge
If you
organization.
meet as a committee of a whole, Trudy, and you have a quorum, then you're a public meeting. So you have to be very mindful of that.
But we're not talking about
Other
having.
councils handle sensitive staff and personnel matters now.
It happened,
Or they
it
haven't-
hasn't had that issue. I mean, the issue that we've had is this one member who just,
Yeah.
Jack is gonna go to their house
He was serving papers.
and serve papers.
Not that, not because I'm a member of the executive committee, but I really have to think very carefully if I can vote for that change unless it's very clear what the mechanism would be to deal with Because it's very clear in the statute what staff's role is, okay? They serve at our pleasure.
Right.
And in terms of as we've seen over the years, there've been 2 or 3 instances where this committee has had to convene to deal with interpersonal issues that members have had in a private way without the committee of the whole, which would be a public setting. So just abandoning
A
that.
committee of the whole does not have to be a public
Well, this
setting.
is what Lisa said.
If you have a quorum, unless you go into executive session.
Yeah, but then you go into executive
Executive
session.
session.
You meet.
You can't go into executive session unless you convene a public meeting.
Disabled.
So that's flexibility wise.
Right.
Sure. We can,
I think it needs further finesse.
Okay.
In another version.
okay, but we'll look at that.
The idea of having a committee of the whole, which I have in so many other organizations and political situations, is that nobody can then say, nobody asked me about this or this.
There's
move or this
advantages to
that."
both ways, actually.
Well,
But if
but that is usually why the committee of the whole is used, so that everybody is involved, even though you still have the committees, the special committees.
It's not necessarily because
Stuart, I've done this.
the members of the committee who could be the subject of the query, it may not be appropriate to discuss the query in front of them.
Exactly.
And having the ability to independently review and investigate the allegation or the issue without the committee of the whole, the absence of that ability would be problematic. It may be wholly inappropriate to discuss.
How about if we come back with some additional language and
Let's
then?
take the opposite, which
How about,
is.
how about if we come back with some suggested
Okay,
language,
yeah,
okay?
that would
And
be
we'll do
great.
that. So if we, with that input, if we move this and we'll come back with some additional language.
Yeah,
because
I
we
need
are
to
running
move on.
But
Thank
do
you.
we need a motion to,
Table it?
to,
No, we're not tabling it. This is just to bring this forward and then the next
that's
time.
what I mean, to
we-
move
yes.
on to the next step. Do
With-
we need a motion or not?
I don't believe that we.
Oh, okay, because if we need one, I'll make the motion.
Okay. Let me go into my report because there's a lot to report.
Yes.
The first item, service increases on the A and L lines are coming. They're going to be an additional round trip on each branch of the A line. That's both to Lefferts Boulevard and from Rockaway, not to Rockaway Park. Really bless you. 4 round trips on the L line during the morning rush and more L train trips on evenings and weekends to help facilitate nightlife in Williamsburg, Manhattan and elsewhere. So that's coming. And the reason they can do that on the L line, obviously, is because they are CBTC equipped
You live
already.
in Williamsburg.
Okay,
He's more Kalia.
the F and M swap, I'm sure you've all heard a lot about this. This is coming later in the year. There's a lot of good about this proposal. There is a real bottleneck just west of the 36th Street M&R station where the M has to veer over to get to the 53rd Street and the F has to zoom up to get to the 63rd Street tunnels. They are working on that intersection, that conglomeration of tracks, and they're going to eliminate that bottleneck by doing what is being suggested. The M will stop at all stations from Roosevelt Avenue, Jackson Heights, 65th Street, Northern Boulevard, 46th Street, Steinway Street, 36th Street. It will then go north to the 63rd Street tunnel and stop at 21st Street, Queensbridge, Lexington Avenue and 63rd Street, and 57th Street and 6th Avenue before joining the rest of the line again at 4750th Rockefeller Center. This enables, and the F will have a much faster ride by zooming from Roosevelt Avenue, Jackson Heights, right into Queens Plaza, joining the E train and going through the 53rd Street too. What this means is Roosevelt Island will have far less crowded trains when they board. And folks who live around 21st Street, Queensbridge, which includes the largest housing project in the borough of Queens, Queensbridge houses, will have easy access to the shopping malls along Queens Boulevard, jobs along Queens Boulevard, and a much easier commute. So I think this is great. This bottleneck needs to be done away with, and this is going to both improve service and do away with it. The one unspoken thing is obviously, since the M does not serve Queens Boulevard on weekends, this is a Monday to Friday only thing.
And late nights.
That's the way it will start. If it becomes ultra popular, which I assume it will, maybe we can get the M train to run along Queens Boulevard on weekends as well.
So unswap.
Has this been approved by the
It'll
board?
unswap.
It has not yet, but it is coming. It will be coming, and this is
I mean,
large.
it does need board approval, MTA board.
It doesn't necessarily need board approval. It will just be informational. I have a feeling because this is a problem. So let me move on. This is good. There are hundreds of new commuter trains being purchased for the Long Island Railroad and Metro North. These are M9As. The M3s are well past their lifetime. Needless to say, actually, some of the M7s are past their lifetime because you can't look south out of the windows. If it's a south facing window on the Long Island Railroad, you can't see your station. That's how brittle the new ones are going to be glass. So this will not be an issue anymore. So that's great. Queens bus redesign, which everyone has heard about, begins June 29th. There will be inserts placed on a lot of the bus stops alerting riders of what changes take place June 29th and what changes take place August 31st. They are doing this in two contingents, so they are different changes happening. And where you go to get your nearest bus stop, if a bus stop is being eliminated and all of that. Plus, they're going to have ambassadors. I think, Lisa, you're one of them. And Brian too.
And Jack and
And Jack.
Kat.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
about-
Yes, I have not.
I'm doing a couple by Jamaica and one by what's that state, Forest Hills. I'll be out there as well as
So
accessible.
we're now the Permanent Citizens Ambassadors Committee. Is that what you're talking?
Accessibility. I'm doing accessibility.
Oh, okay.
We did ask about having other volunteers, but they wanted to limit it to non-volunteer.
But having people out there to answer questions, to discuss the new transfer policy that is coming and whether it works for you, telling you how to get to the nearest subway or Long Island Railroad station, which some of the new routes are going to go express to get people to where they're going more quickly.
Rush bus.
They've already started changing at the bus stop, the information and the buses.
Yeah,
And I'm really curious to see how this goes because
we all are.
I'm sorry, but Queens, especially eastern portion south, we're getting screwed again. Despite the meetings, despite the feedback, they've gone ahead and made these changes that are gonna affect seniors, affect people who have small kids and can't get to station, different stops as easily.
So
I've heard that from many people,
I heard
Karen,
it.
and I've asked, is this cast in stone? And they said changes can be made at any time.
We've actually seen that with the Bronx redesign.
Yes, they can
Changes
make
were-
changes in the
were made.
Bronx.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to do with Queens because people associate me with everything that the MTA does. I've heard it also, and especially since a long time ago, when I was in high school, I lived in Queens and some people are still there. And there are
There's a lot of people still there.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about my people. No, but what I'm saying is that I'm hearing that maybe I don't want to just turn them, you have enough.
I got a lot more to talk about.
No, but I just want to know if we get these kind of concerns, is that a good word? Not really. Are you keeping track? Who's keeping track with the Queens bus?
If you want to share.
Staff is.
Yep, they can.
I mean, what is the best way to approve?
I would wait until it goes into effect and people have an opportunity to try it out first. Because things are gonna be different and sometimes change is confusing.
We just have to watch.
So that it's, it is gonna be different and maybe after a week, but there will be definitely opportunities for,
My question.
there will be definitely opportunities for feedback. We'll find out the right feedback up.
Yes, that's what I
yes.
want to know.
Yep.
If
Okay.
we could, thank you.
Great, thank you. Congestion
Ah,
Congestion pricing is working as intended. Gridlock is down 25%. When did you ever remember watching traffic reports and hearing 15-minute waits at the Lincoln Holland tunnels? Incredible.
Be the fit, Ken.
Okay,
There are far fewer accidents on the streets. Emergency vehicles are getting where they need to go much more quickly. The air is cleaner around the Lincoln and Holland tunnels and some of the other crossings. And people are actually responding. It's getting more popular as well.
Schedule's
Buses are sped up. In fact, they're going to be upgrading some of the express buses because they're making so much better time. They don't want to have the bus have to wait at a stop for like 5 or 10 minutes because it got there that much more quickly.
What about the areas north of the congestion?
Yes, there has not been the amount of pollution and increased traffic on the Cross Bronx or on the Staten Island Expressway that has been predicted, interestingly enough.
So.
Now,
regional
since on the
plan,
congestion pricing,
hold on.
David,
Hold on.
can I give you?
Hold on.
Regional Plan Association just put out a report that looked at those numbers. Particularly looking at the Bronx and at Staten Island and Northern Manhattan and areas outside of the zone that's worth taking a look at as well.
What about Queens coming in, Brooklyn?
No major increase.
No major increase.
If I may, because I've been doing congestion pricing longer than anybody in this room and most people, except for Andrew, connected with the MTA. I will tell you that no matter what is done, and I'm going to use, we refer to him now as the Orange Man, but people associated with the Orange Man and also the Secretary of Transportation, they are continuing, no matter what the reports are, and they are getting even more verbose, is that a nice word? In doing something to eliminate congestion pricing. It is not even no matter what we know, all the reports, everything you've said, Andrew, I've talked to you about this. It is still
No,
an
they haven't
issue.
given up, obviously.
They are not giving up, and we should not say, oh, well, because everything's going so smoothly. We have to be aware because the best intelligence that I get from Washington-based people who are on our side, but is that the current administration are going to continue with lawsuits, with changes, with public statements and everything else. And then they do have a lot of people on their side, whether we like it or not, especially people up in the Bronx and then also New Jersey.
Who is the Orange Man?
What?
The Orange Man, that's her.
Who is the Orange Man?
President, the Orange Man, I'm sorry.
No.
Current president.
No, I find that extremely disrespectful to the President of the United States, by the way.
Okay.
Okay, can we move on, please?
Yeah, can we?
Gotta move on. We hear you, Trudy. We hear you.
Sense of, oh, everything's going
We got a
so
good,
smooth.
we got a good judgment from Judge Lyman, not that long ago. So let's see what happens, okay? Let's move on. 3 Metro North stations in the Bronx are going to get major upgrades. Williamsbridge, Woodlawn, and Botanical Gardens. They're going to be made accessible. The platform's going to be lengthened. There's going to be better lighting. But ridership is up at those stations thanks to City Ticket, I would add. And you know, that's part of Freedom Ticket that we've been pushing for years. And obviously it is getting results. So that is great news.
I was at the ground.
Yeah, you were. Now, Nostrand interlocking. I remember discussing this back when Tom Prendergast was MTA chair. He was looking for a solution for this. You obviously know that right at Franklin Avenue there, before the 2 and the 5 go south to Flatbush and Nostrand, and the
3 and 4.
Yeah, the 3 and the 4 go east to Utica and New Lots. There is a major crossover that has to take place, and that is really delaying service on both. So there is an excellent chance that the way to solve this is something that, you know, it's not going to be as convenient for the majority of folks, but it is going to solve this problem and you end up getting where you need to go more quickly, which is, it is likely that the 7th Avenue lines, the 2 and the 3, will go south from Franklin Avenue to Nostrand and Flatbush, and the 4 and the 5 will go east to Utica and Crown Heights and New Lots Avenue. There was a rumor out there that they would both end at Utica and that there would be a number 8 train that would take people out to New Lots. I don't see that happening. I've seen the rumors on the website and everything, but it's just as easy to make the 5 go to New Lots and end the 4 at Crown Heights, Utica, where it does end sometimes anyway, and be less confusing to people and not have to bring a new train number in. So
Reincarnated.
Let's look for this to be solved at some point. Yes, you might have to change trains at Franklin Avenue or earlier in Evans Street, wherever, if you want to change, if you want to go down Flatbush or you want to go to New Lots or Utica along Eastern Parkway. But the trains will not themselves be delayed, and that will speed up service for everyone. There are hundreds of new subway cars coming, largely for the A division, which has not gotten new cars in a long time. And the R262s will be replacing the R62s, and they will be as advanced as what you see on the B division, like the 211s. They will have digital displays. They will have lights on to tell you what side the doors are opening on. They will have a lot more information than we currently have. And the MDBF will be a lot better than the R62s. And, you know, the 46s are largely gone or about. I love them, but the MDBF is not good on them. So adios, R46s.
Be the trains that you can go all the way through.
These are not going to be open gangways.
Open gangways.
No, they are narrower cars on the A division, on the IRT. So don't think they're going to be open gangway. Amtrak to Ronkonkoma. There is a lot of talk and a lot of pressure. Amtrak is talking about having 3 of their trains a day start at Ronkonkoma, stop at Hicksville, Jamaica, Penn Station, and continue south to Washington, D.C. That would be convenient. I don't know what it will do to Long Island Railroad service, and obviously Amtrak's current rolling stock is not equipped with third rails, which is what the majority of service, all of the trains to Ronkonkoma are. So you would need a hybrid vehicle to do this. So this is still in the early stages. I don't know what it would do to Ronkonkoma branch service. Obviously, it could get people to JFK Airport easily from places in New Jersey if they just go to Jamaica and take the air train. So this is and MacArthur at Ronkonkoma, right? So a lot of and Newark Liberty. So a lot of airports would be available through this. They're talking three trains a day, but we will see what happens. The man in Washington, I won't call him the orange man, but they are cutting funding to the Northeast Corridor. They are increasing it to the rest of the national system, interestingly, but the Northeast Corridor carries the lion's share of Amtrak ridership and is making money. And so I don't know why it's any good to cut the Northeast Corridor's funding, but it's being cut. And as you know, Andy Byford is coming to New York, coming back, and will undo.
Yeah.
Yes, he will oversee the redo of Penn Station. And I understand from an email I got recently that the SWAG meetings are set to resume.
They're considering what they're gonna look like. They're interested in resuming public input, and they're transitioning all of the
Working advisory group, SWAG.
they're transitioning.
Everything has an abbreviation.
They're transitioning details on the project to a different website.
Yes, yes. So another thing, you may have heard about this, dehumidification of major cables on the Verrazano Bridge. This is not cheap. I mean, this is 249 million, but the cables within the girders that hold up the bridge are much too humid, and they're starting to disintegrate a little bit. So dehumidifying the interior of those conduits that carry these cables will give the bridge a lot of extra life. And it will be done with not too much disruption to people who use the bridge, but we've got to maintain this bridge. Obviously, it is a major important viaduct to connect Brooklyn and Staten Island and all of Long Island and Staten Island and west of Staten Island. So we think this is great, and it was approved by the board just yesterday. Now, here's something I have asked Demetrius about, and I'm so thrilled to say it is coming. You may have heard the horrific incident that took place at the Whitlock Avenue station on the number 6 line in the Bronx, where a conductor was smashed in the head as they looked out the window to make sure the platform was cleared. I asked Demetrius, why can't we get cameras in the conductors' cabins so that are on the outside of the train, so they don't have to stick their head out? They can see exactly before they, just like bus operators, have these cameras that can see on all sides and mirrors and everything. Demetrius said they are coming, and that is great news. I don't know exactly what the timetable is, but for conductors, which are so important to our safety and the operation of every train, to not be endangered when they check the platform for everyone else's safety is just a major step forward. I can't wait to hear when this is coming, but it's coming.
And Joe, does this also help with the employees that are of doing things outside of their duties. Because I know I've come across a train operator who was operating the train while using their cell phone. So would this also?
Talking the subway?
Yes.
There's cameras in their cars.
There's cameras in their cabin, in fact, in every motor person's cabin. Every train out,
It's in service, yeah.
just to make sure nobody else has taken over control of the train.
Do they work?
They do work.
You see.
I don't know that
you can
they-
report it,
Yeah, you should report the car number to me or to somebody
For sure.
if you see that happening.
Yeah.
Let me go on, please.
No, I'm trying. Go ahead.
Because of construction on roadways around JFK Airport, from a few days ago until Labor Day, you can now ride the air train for $4.25 instead of $8.50. Many people think that should have been the fare altogether all along, because $8.50 is pretty darn expensive for the end of your trip, but it is $4.25 now, both from, Howard Beach and from Jamaica to JFK Airport. So that's through Labor Day.
Just go for a ride.
And because of the MTA's handling of major contracts, the fact that we have now a fully funded capital plan, which the CPRB approved in record time, and because we have congestion pricing, and because the MTA is combining contracts to make things done more efficiently and saving money, Moody's has upgraded the MTA's credit rating from A3 to A2, which will save millions and millions of dollars in borrowing costs. So this is great news, and we hope it continues. And that's.
Is that permanent or is it
No,
just,
credit rating is never permanent.
no, but is there a time?
They don't say. That's what it is
It's
now.
called more information next month.
Yeah, Karen.
Just curious, so for the new commuter cars, a lot of that equipment, the capital, it's coming from outside the US, right?
No, they're being built in New York
New
State.
York State, yeah.
18 states are gonna benefit from the construction.
Yeah, Alstom is building them in Horseheads, New York, I believe is the town.
Yes.
Or no, no,
Well, no, there's
there is a Horseheads.
there is a Horsehead, but they're in bed with Horsehead, but they're opening a new facility in Horsehead, but it's the plant right now is in Hormel. So
Hormel.
it's Hormel. There's going to be a facility in
Hormel
Horsehead.
is, smoked meats.
Yeah, from Horsehead.
Some of the cars that we've seen, when we had gone to Brooklyn, it was like a year or 2 years ago.
I was going down to Jamaica.
No, they're Kawasaki, but Kawasaki is a plant.
Kawasaki has.
There is by US.
They're not subject to tariffs. That's what that was gonna be.
But they are subject to the Buy America laws, which require them to be 70% manufactured within the United States.
But there's
Buy them.
the problem is that there aren't that many manufacturers of either the rail cars or the electric buses. So Rich Davey, when he was here, actually was the head of a small group at APTA, the national organization that was looking at ways to increase the number of manufacturers, both of those. Rich has moved on to a job in Massport. But there are a lot of other, that group still continues. The MTA talked about it yesterday, about the need to continue to beef that up and to find different ways. But the MTA, I think, is the largest procurer of rail cars and now that Amtrak is also increasing the size of its fleet. The MTA in some ways has to wait for parts of Amtrak's fleets to be built so that they can, get in line. And if they miss, part of the problem was the congestion pricing, the CPRB things not happening, congestion pricing money not being, not having surety. Is that they had to pause the contract so that they couldn't move forward and block the place. But that was, it's a big problem. Yes.
If I could add to what Lisa is saying, that the governor's office, because all of this has to be done by the governor. And you just asked about Kawasaki. That there are people in Albany or in the governor's office who are right now on various missions to try to get countries
I did see.
from not even the United States, but to open plants or offices or whatever here, that they should be in New York State. So that you have, you know, there'll be a company with a farm, but it will be based in New York State, which is
Thank you, Trudy.
needed.
Chris, you have something?
Yeah, I'd like to bring something up because Tilly and I have to leave by a certain time. As you know, one thing I know it was supposed to be mentioned yesterday, but it gave me the opportunity. As you know, next month is 8835. And just to make someone, you have tissue next to her, so thank God. Just so everyone know, if you go on the MTA accessibility page, they do list the events. And this year they put the picture up again, not just me, but Jason. And there's another person actually in there, which I'm sliding this over to her. Trudy is on the picture on the website.
68th Street.
Yes, Hunter College.
My station.
Yes, and let me say this quickly,
One
because,
station away from your station.
yes.
No, but this is the station that.
But it was listed as the last elevator station on the first list, so just let everyone know. There are events there. If you guys know if there's any events for Disability Pride Month, please email to mtaaccessibility@mtahq.org. I'm gonna go fast that way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Jason, do you have a question?
Sharon has something under new business also.
Okay. Jason, you have a.
Hey everyone, regarding the statement regarding the new cars, the chairman of the transportation committee in the state senate, Jeremy Cooney, he posted a statement on X, appreciating the MTA regarding the purchase of the M9As, in New York State. So he is very pleased about this. And Andrew, just a bit of correction regarding your report. The R262s are going to be open gangways.
You know that for a fact?
Yes, it is correct.
Wow, I didn't hear that.
Because several reports are reporting that the R262s are going to be open gangway.
Okay. Good, thank you.
And one last thing, the presentation, I liked it. So I put in the chat several concerns that in some stations, in some bathrooms, they don't have garbage cans.
Good, thank you.
So I'll let you guys go. Enjoy the weather. Stay hydrated. And I'll see you guys next month.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jason.
Sharon.
There, an issue with OmniCards. There was a visitor who got flustered in the station and ended up doubling back and using the card, trying to use the card twice within 15 or 20 minutes, and was told that the card wasn't valuable, there was no value left, and by the machine, and therefore spent another $34 to get another card. And I wonder if there could be suggested to the software people to try to put some kind of notice in the software when you check the value of your card to say there are 7 minutes left or something like that, so that it's.
Yeah, I looked into that for you, Sharon, as you know.
I
And
know.
the card was checked and it was tried to be used more than once within the 15
Visitors
minutes.
don't know.
It's an anti-passback feature is really what it is.
Yeah, but visitors don't know about it.
Right.
It doesn't say it.
It doesn't say it.
We had a meeting, staff had a meeting with Omni folks and did a few things. We recommended that you need to be able to tap to see what your available balance is.
Absolutely.
That shows things like that. Judy, they took notes several times on the making sure that it shows clearly on the outside of the wrapper at stores that there is no value. So we brought that up in a couple of different ways. Just one.
You didn't hear me notching about it today.
No, but I did say, I believe I even said at the meeting, I'm bringing this up for Trudy.
Yes.
But we have raised that as a larger issue as well, because I bought an Omni card and tapped and tried to go see what the value was. They said that they're working with that on that issue. with the vendor so that you can, if I bought a weekly, to see how many days I had left, how much and how close I was to fair capping.
You know, able to see that on the bus or the train?
At a, at a machine, at one of the Omni machines or something. They don't want to do it on a bus because that's that whole like people
Like you can
looking
check the
and
Metro
stopping.
cards.
That'll just, and it'll take time. Well,
Right, but that you could do it at a machine, that it would show you the value, like when you go to a booth and you slide it. So yes, so we did raise that,
Thank
yes.
you. I
Great.
have to go.
All right, good to see you, Darren.
No, motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, he said make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any objections? Thank you all.
See you all in July. Have a good one.